Good evening, Prime9 viewers. This is Shiv Modi, and today I have again, my quest is always to get new content and information for the public to know, what is truth, what is not, and stuff like that. So, on the same quest, today I have somebody from Iran. Um, and we wanted to talk to him and find out, about the country and what is going on today between Iran, Israel, and with respect to America and the rest of the world. So, in the same process, I also want to bring out what are the facts as opposed to, the social media going around. We don't know who is talking truth, what is not, and all that stuff. So, welcome to my show, Point to Point. So, for the show, I'm going to call you Joe. Is that okay, Joe?
Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. So, welcome to my show, and thank you for accepting my invitation to my show coming up, and I hope you're going to talk your heart out.
Yeah, and let me just explain. Obviously, I don't look like this, but just for protection of identity, so we can talk truthfully and without repercussion. I still wanted to get the truth out and give some level of candor. Because a lot of people nowadays they're worried about backlash. So like you had mentioned, a lot of the interviews and stuff, it's all filtered. It's useless. Even pieces of information you get from major news outlets, it's all propaganda stuff. You don't. The search for truth has got to be true journalism, straight to the people.
Straight to the people, straight from the heart.
Yep.
So you think whatever is there right now in the media or the channels out, everybody is faking it out, or there's no truth at all?
It's based on the truth.
Okay.
But it is mostly editorial.
Okay. For their, I understand what you're saying now. Okay.
It's opinionated, and I'm not even sure if it's the person's opinion. It is an opinion that they're reading, and that opinion has a goal to alter your perception. Okay. It is not about truth.
Let's get into it. All right. And I'm looking straight into your eyes. Right. So you are an Iranian?
Yes, I was born there, and I was there till I was about 12 years old. Well after the revolution. We'll talk about the revolution a little bit.
The revolution, 1979?
1979, yeah. So I remember that vividly. I was a small, 5, 6 years old. But I remember seeing the uprisings in the street. I remember people fighting back with the regime, which was an imperial regime, a dynasty, and the military police that was trying to keep the crowds together. At some point, the crowd's overwhelmed, and there were times where they would arrest or shoot into crowds to try to keep them, but the momentum was just too much. And when there was a point, which we're going to talk about, why it's so critical now. There was a point, it's like a tipping point, where countryman couldn't shoot another countryman. And they turned their bayonets and replaced them with flowers. So then the military police couldn't protect the government anymore by shooting into the crowd. And at that point, the king got on a plane and left. And that's when it's like, that's it. It's turned over. And that was an Islamic revolution. What that meant was people took over to try to establish Islamic regime in a country. 40 years later, right? 47 years later, what you have now is there's been several times where semblance of revolution has happened over there, but it doesn't quite reach the tipping point. The tipping point being the people in power, they're in power because of a revolution. They know what it takes. So what they do is they divide up, they cut the internet, they take people's power, an opportunity for them to take momentum. And it never takes up momentum. This last year, there was great opportunity. There was multiple cities, a lot of people were revolting. And it seemed like, I mean, these are people that are unarmed. They're just citizens. And it seemed like there was going to be some kind of support from the West.
Joe, so sorry to interrupt. I know you're straight up getting into the revolution and all that stuff. And I want to step back a little bit.
Sure.
Right? And understand, first of all, I want to understand the country.
Yeah.
Right? The Iran. What does that mean to the world?
They're pretty resilient people. And that also explains what's going on right now, which we'll talk about. But there's been a lot of like sanctions and hardship and cutting them off financially and all that stuff. And what that does is, yes, it punishes those in power, but it also punishes those citizens.
Right.
And when you have a population that maybe 50, 60% of the population doesn't know the pre-revolution era. They've been born into this type of environment and they don't like it. They don't like it. They're oppressed. Okay. And the revolution in Iran is eventually going to happen. Whether it requires outside intervention or not, that's to be determined. But obviously it needs to be something that's more coordinated than just bombing. Okay. Yeah. But the people over there, the reason they're resilient is because when you put on financial pressure and people just thrive or just survive in that, sanctions alone isn't going to do anything. They're not going to cave in. Whereas here, our gas prices go up like $1. Everyone's like, this is terrible. We got to do something about it.
Right. We can't take it here.
We can't take it. Yeah.
Slight discomfort, we can't take it.
That's it. Something's wrong. And in here, political pressure will react to that.
Right. Yeah. That will come to that, right? Yeah. So you're saying Iran means resilience. Resilient, people resilient. That's what you're defining Iran as.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why would you say that? I mean, like, why would you say that?
Let me start by prefacing that I'm not a fan or I don't like the regime that's there. They are not good people. They break all kinds of humanitarian rules. They've shot into their own crowds. They killed the youth. Anyone who revolts, they throw them in jail. Not good people.
So how was your childhood there?
My childhood spans pre and post-revolution. Post-revolution, everything went bad very quickly.
Went back to the normalcy or went back to...
No, went bad.
Went bad.
Sorry,
okay,
with
bad.
the mask,
B-A-D. No, that's fine. Fine.
No, it went bad because it was really the establishment of a national religion. Okay, it's not about Islam, but that's what they did, right? Okay. But when you do that, everything is run through a lens of religion. That's why it's so important to have freedom of religion in this country, because everything in our laws don't run through religion. But what happened over there was they ended up changing, like, for example, who is a judge? Well, a judge knows the law. But if you're going to run it through a lens of religion, they now need a religious scholar. To become administrator of law. Right. A religious scholar to become administrator of other functions within the society. And so that doesn't necessarily make them qualified for the functions that they were doing.
Yeah. So are you calling that as a... so right now, is it called as a Islamic country?
Yes.
And are you saying it shouldn't be Islamic country? Is that what you're saying? Or
I'm not... Again, there's a lot of people that they just don't like it because it's Islam. It's not about the Islam part. It's about the establishment of a national religion. That's what causes a problem. I think religious diversity is the way to establish good function for society, because people belong to different belief systems.
Right.
That doesn't make them good or bad. It doesn't make them not belong.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. So post 1979, it was bad, is what you said.
It was bad. There was a decline. And of course, the relationship with the West was cut, right? There was the hostage crisis. There was, getting rid of the British petroleum, nationalizing the oil system. All that stuff did was create tensions with the rest of the world.
These are all the global problems you're talking about.
Correct.
I am more interested in what were the local problems. Like, as a citizen of Iran, what do people face?
Well,
That
they
is the
faced
truth I want to bring.
immediate. So, like, if you had a situation where they weren't very tolerant of other types of belief systems, so then there was a lot of people that escaped. So that then takes us to like the people that are in America, or let's just say expatriates, like people that used to live there, but now they live somewhere else. Well, their view of what's going on in Iran is always going to be very different because, like myself, like I haven't been there in like almost 50 years. Like, so I don't know. Okay. I haven't been there for 40 years. I can see it. I have people that are there. They communicate through, networks and whatever, but we don't know. And the view that we have is like when it was good before, which is in pre-revolution. Right. So that's where you start seeing people out here raising this other flag of the dynasty.
What is that?
This is the royal emblem. So the color of the flag is the same, but the new one, since the revolution, has the word Allah in the middle.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's Islamic. This is the lion and the sword. It's the symbol of the previous, regime.
So that was before 1979. You're
Correct.
Oh,
Correct.
okay,
So
okay.
that's why when you start seeing people here rooting for their country, they want that country back.
Oh, okay. That's what they're referring to.
That's what, when you see this
Not
flag.
the flag with Allah sign in
Correct.
it. That's okay. So
Correct.
people here. But what about there?
They don't want that. They don't want this.
Oh, okay.
Because they were also oppressed back then, but just under a different regime.
So oppression was a constant thing then.
Correct.
Common
That's why
thing.
I'm saying the resilience part.
That's why you were talking about resilience. So that's okay. So when you were growing up, like these kind of things, right? Do you used to go to school?
Yeah.
The schools were open, would be open.
Yes.
What about food?
Food prices and plentifulness started getting affected when they started getting into an engagement of war with Iraq. So the Iran-Iraq war really changed the way, it was almost like an immediate depression because food supply became scarce, like nothing's available. And wherever you find it, it's going to be on the black market. You talk about egg prices here, at least it's available. Right. But imagine if there's like no eggs and then someone's like, hey, I have eggs, and they'll sell like a dozen eggs for $20.
Okay.
And then you're just like, I'll just won't eat eggs,
Right. Okay.
So it really messes up that stuff. But the war with Iraq was a big determinant. That went on for 8 years.
Right.
Millions of people died.
Right. So again, back to when you're talking about oppression, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not democratic anymore, right?
No.
Right. So
it's an Islamic republic.
Islamic Republic, right? So essentially, and you also mentioned that government would shoot normal people, citizens.
Yeah.
Right. So was that like if you go on a street, you walk on a street, do you used to walk on a street with the confidence that you're going to come back home, or there was no confidence? There was no guarantee that you will come back home. Is that how it was? I'm just trying to understand and let my viewers know how it would feel for somebody to live in that country. Not today, back in when you were young. And also, of course, we'll come to today's also.
I would say pre-revolution, there was definitely more, I wouldn't call it necessarily freedoms, but there was definitely less fear of that. Now, after the revolution, the people that were in charge had a certain way that they liked things to be.
Oh, okay.
So then there is no tolerance for that.
Oh, okay.
So if it's forced compliance,
Okay.
you either do that or you suffer consequences. So if you want to talk about how confident you be in it all depends. So like if, for example, they like boys or men to not have long hair.
And that is end of story.
End of story. So if you have longer hair, there's people in motorbikes that could just essentially provide social justice right there. They could shave your head. They could throw you in a van and take you to prison. I mean, what kind of system is that?
Right. Okay. So basically, cutting hair is still okay for me. Like, taking you to prison is like,
Well, but it's little things like that. They made sure that all women have to cover up and wear the hijab, okay? Right. Well, if you're not doing it, you're not being compliant, you need to be made example of. Or
so what would be the consequence of such an instance?
There were so many people that not only received lashings, but if they, let's say, for example, if they had like painted nails or makeup, horrible things, putting their hands in bags of cockroaches and, bad things, very bad things.
Did you witness anything like that?
I've witnessed some stuff. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was 12 years old. I mean, I saw one public hanging off of a crane.
And do you know what was the problem? What was the
homosexuality?
Issue? Wow.
Their system is about making examples to force everybody else into compliance. Forced compliance. That is not freedom.
Right. So okay.
And then you have a choice, right?
How did they even find out homosexuality about that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So you were too young to know those details. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But let's say you're running a business over there. Mm-hmm. And now, in order for you to thrive, you either go with this forced compliance or you're not going to succeed. So if tomorrow they say you need to be closed during Ramadan, well, you can't be open. Even if you stay open, no customer is going to come.
Okay.
So then you have to do that. Or before you know it, like, hey, you need to go to Friday prayer. Why aren't you going to Friday prayer? That's like their Sunday, right? Like, right. Okay. Well, there's people that go because not going is viewed as not complying. So then there's people that go and bow and do all the hand movement, but they're not really praying. They're just doing it just to make sure to check a box to say that I'm doing it. So what it actually does is, although it looks like it's compliant, it's creating a lot of resentment. So when you add that 40 years of resentment, that's where that fuels the revolution. There are people who just don't want to have a fake life anymore.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. Okay. So going back to your childhood, so going school was normal? Like there would be teachers?
Boys and girls separate. Boys school, girls school.
Okay, so,
yeah.
Okay, period. No, absolutely.
Mixing.
And the country is really big, right? It's pretty big. It's a huge country, isn't it?
Yes.
I saw it on the map, and recently for some reason I was checking the size of the countries and all. I saw like Iran
is also like about 90 million people. Yeah.
90 million people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's the remnant. It's one of the oldest countries in the world, and it's the remnant of what used to be the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire, goes back thousands of years.
Right.
And at one point, it went all the way up to modern day Rome. It went all the way up to India, China.
Right, yeah.
Yep. So pretty widespread kingdom, and very good relationship. One of the first human rights tablets were from that era, and also. In the Bible, there's mention of when Cyrus freed the Jews, and that were in captivity. So their relationship with the Jewish people have always been very good until you get to this modern era with the Islamic people, and they basically have a very big problem with the current modern day country of Israel. That's like their agenda is to deal with that. because of their alliance with Palestine, Syria, and what they call Hezbollah. Hezbollah literally in Arabic means army of God. Hezb, group of Allah. Hezbollah. Hezbollah means army of God. So this group, Hezbollah, is a terrorist organization. It is a group that does bad things, okay? But what they're trying to do, they're trying to free their brothers in Palestine. So this is why the tension with Israel is so intense, because the continuous involvement of Israel with the Palestinian and the Arabic countries around there constantly creates conflict with people who support the Arab nations, the Islamic group, right? And then the Jewish people. U.S. is the prime supporter of Israel. Right. Without the U.S. backing, there's way more of them than there is just Israel.
Right. Yeah. It's a small country, right? Israel is like what, 1/4 of Iran, maybe?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Right,
but obviously with support.
Right.
So when you have a situation in Iran, and Iran wants independence, they want to make sure they have nuclear capabilities, all that stuff. From the rest of the world, people are like, that doesn't sound safe. I don't think we want those people to have a nuclear capability. And so many times between US, between CIA, between the intelligence from Israel, they've infiltrated the groups in Iran, infiltrated the reactors, infiltrated through cybersecurity, infiltrated. Their intelligence about Iran's nuclear capability is pretty top notch. They know what the threat is.
Oh, okay.
We don't. When I say U.S., from the U.S. perspective, we don't really know. We don't really care, to be honest. We're not their main target. Our ally is.
Right. But why we as in U.S., why did we go even support the Palestinian?
So the reason we did that is because of our support for Israel. So Israel dragged us into this conflict, this current conflict from 4 months ago.
Right.
Now, you go back a year ago, last June, U.S. went and bombed the nuclear sites, and they said, it's done. Right. There's no more. We're done. Yeah, right. Well, how is it that a year later, it's an imminent threat? What? So either that wasn't as successful as it should have been, or the threat isn't real. But Israel insisted, no, the threat is real. These guys are going to cause problems. So when I say U.S. and Israel attacked Iran, and because of their attack, they retaliated. They retaliated not in a surprising way. They retaliated in a way that has always been planned, which is they're going to close the Gulf and they're going to attack the Arab nations around there. So for us to come back and say, oh, we had no idea, it's to be completely short-sighted, because this is exactly what they were going to do. This is what they do.
Right. That is what they can do and they would do.
And they did it. They didn't do anything surprising.
Right.
Anybody who's been on the foreign intelligence or any sort of, the reason we haven't attacked them before is because we knew what would happen. Mm-hmm. Now pause right there. We build bases in all these Gulf countries, Qatar, Oman, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, for protection. Not our protection, their protection. We say, hey, we're going to have bases here. We're going to come protect you in case, bad people nearby, Well, how is it that we say we didn't know they were going to do that when we vacated our bases? Because we knew they were going to attack. So we vacated our bases to minimize our presence. Okay. And then they attack these countries. And the countries are like, hey, a little help?
Yeah.
And the U.S. is like, go get your own oil. You know what? Help yourself. Right. That right there, whatever happens with this situation, that is going to have a long-term effect for the United States. The fact that we caused conflict and the retribution happened to our allies and we didn't help them, they're going to remember that. Secondly, the conflict with Iran lasted a lot longer than they thought. Right. And what they did was they did asymmetric warfare. And what do I mean by asymmetric warfare? In the past, if you go back thousands of years back when there's, you got people had armies, you march, and then some people came up with horseback, and then you have tanks, and you have airplanes. So warfare has just we're thinking, hey, missiles to missiles. Well, they didn't play with missiles. They play with drones.
Right. Yeah.
And our defense system costs more to shoot down a $5,000, $10,000, $50,000 drone. So they could send hundreds of these things.
Right. China bought drones, maybe.
Huh?
China bought drones.
Drone technology is cheap and it's easy to make.
Right.
And we're over here wasting our ballistics technology, our surface-to-air technology, and our allies. So Israel was fighting, we're fighting. We're spending hundreds of millions. And here's the thing, you can only get so much. Some of this stuff actually went through. Right. Some of that stuff went through. And then at one point, it's like, we could do this all day long. The cost difference is 50-1.
Right.
So the longer this conflict goes, U.S. needed the peace resolution. We needed the timeout. If we continue down this path, we'd run out of cash. We've actually run out about 2.5 years of worth of ammo.
Right.
To rebuild to our stockpile back to where it was before we started.
Right, yeah. I think we were spending like $2 billion a day or something like that. Right, yeah.
Compared to, hundreds of thousands.
Correct, yeah.
Talk about resilience. Second thing, they were doing an exchange back with Israel, right? 12 days, whatever, right? They're shooting, whether it was successful or not.
Sorry to interrupt. So while they're shooting back and forth, right, and it is now become the missiles would go into the cities.
Yes.
Right.
There's casualties.
There are
innocent
casualties.
People. Yeah.
Right? Innocent people die.
That's not standing with people. That's not helping us. They from an Iran perspective, they don't see American assistance when it's coming out of the sky and indiscriminately bombing them. Right. That's not the help they needed.
Right.
You see?
So what does the government over there in Iran does for the normal public, their own public, while these kind of situations arise?
It's more of the same stuff, man. Like they do a lot of propaganda stuff. They control all the state media is all covered by the government. So radio, television, print, it's government controlled. There's no private, different things. They control all that. They control the messages. They could tell people we're winning. They're telling people we're standing up against, the great giants and we're winning. Mm-hmm. Are they though? Probably not, but it doesn't matter if you're going back and forth.
Right. Yeah. So for that one instance, I think, them giving that kind of message back to their own people is for a reason that they resilience.
In terms
they
of
don't
incentives,
want
you know what they have? They have cheap gas. I have friends and family over there right now. I mean, they drive around like maybe it's still under 99 cents a gallon. Like, I mean, they have cheap gas. They have a ton of gas, but because of the sanctions, they have no one to sell it to. So they could use that internally.
Yeah, but they still have to eat, right? They can't eat the gas.
The inflation is through the roof.
So did anybody through this bombing, any of your relatives or friends or family got impacted?
They go to like other cities or they go to like northern villas or things like that. They stay out of the hot zones. They stay out of the main conflict
So
areas.
How do you know the hot zones and versus non-hot zones?
Well, I mean, there's like the capital.
Okay.
And then there's also some of the other non-primary cities that hold like, certain bases or, the nuclear sites and stuff like that.
Okay. So the bombing, all that was happening for all these 3 to 4 months is only happening on those hot zones, not on the...
So let's talk about that. Like I know that one of the famous cases is this girl's school.
Right.
Okay.
That was the very first one, right?
Yeah. So let me go back to my childhood during the war, right? So during the war, we're at school and we're seeing military convoys and tanks and surface-to-air missiles. During the daytime, they would go and put them inside the hospital parking lot, school parking lot, okay?
This is while you are in the school.
Right. And then at nighttime, when the Iraqi fighters would come, they have known targets. They know where the base is and all that stuff. But now they're getting shot at from other areas. So then if they attack, see, they have coordinates that they have to hit. But then they're seeing, oh, there's a lot of firepower coming from over here.
Which was not part of their coordinates.
Correct. So if you shoot that, now it looks like you shot down a hospital.
Oh.
But who made the hospital a target?
Okay.
Did we shoot down a hospital? Yes. Did we shoot down a school? Yes. Was there a base there? Yes.
Okay. That was a instant base made in those locations.
Correct.
And that's why, okay.
So yes, innocent people died, but at what? Whose mistake is that? It's when you put your own people as target.
So you're basically missing the principles of the war or how to take care of the people.
Yeah.
So those are like
they want to win at all costs, even at the cost of their own citizens.
Their own citizens.
Right.
So what happened with that? So you were in school and then
you see this happen. You see that.
So what goes through your mind then at that time? Like you're in school,
your level of insignificance, your own country. So it's like the enemy is supposed to be the one from the air.
Oh, okay.
But your own country is selling you out. They shut down the lights before the airplanes come, so they can't even see the city grid. I mean, there were so many times I saw huge splashes of orange flash, and the brighter it was, the closer it was. And then in the morning, we'd just go in the car and drive around, and you see whole apartment buildings cut in half.
People dead.
Yeah, the whole building's gone. I mean, like.
So what used to go through your mind? I can't even imagine.
Well, that's how you leave. That's how you get to the point where like, I have to leave this country because there's no future here.
Okay. So you just get up and leave? Is that how it works?
It's more complicated than that. There's no like direct relation with the West. So you have to go somewhere where there is a relationship.
Oh, okay.
So somewhere in Europe or whatever. And then from there, come to US, and then once you're in the US, then you have to continue to apply until you become a green card permanent resident, and then continue to apply until you become a citizen, which happened for me. And I have no intention of going back over there, but because I value my rights as a human. This isn't because of US. This is for the people that don't value human rights. Right. And they're not just over there.
Gotcha.
They have spies.
Gotcha. No, I mean, I respect what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, the whole idea is to bring out the truth and, you know, how and what and all that stuff. Being anonymous. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, that's
the other
safety.
thing is how this conflict has come to kind of like a stalemate right now is because they realize very quickly that although they're going back and forth with Israel, they can't really force Israel into any sort of action. So what they came up with, like if you ever play chess, you know, you move a piece, and then it forces the other player to move, even though you didn't directly. Right. Yeah. What we did was, what we as Americans, in our unending support for Israel, they put pressure on America. Because we could force Israel. We have the hand. So asymmetry means you don't take on directly with Israel, you take on with US. US puts the pressure. So Trump is telling Bibi, hey, settle down. I'm trying to work out a deal here. There is no deal. They just got Israel to stop attacking them, not because of what they did, but because of what they did to America. Which was cut off the supply. You cut off the supply and you hurt their relationship. Guess what? Domestically, internationally, there's pressure on America to make this go away.
Right.
And how do you make it go away? You have to tell them to stop.
That's right.
The problem is this peace deal that they got going on is between two parties, Iran and America. You know who's missing? Israel, China, Russia, United Kingdom, France. Other people have no part of this. The previous deal, which they called the Obama or whatever, That one had international concerns, and there was a lot more, and the sanctions remained in place. In fact, of note, they keep talking about how they put pallets of cash on a plane and sent it to Iran. The reason for that was because the sanctions, the banking sanctions remained in place. There was no way to give them back their money other than put it in cash and send it there. Compared to the deal that we have now, this deal is far worse. No mention of nuclear, no mention of ballistics, no supervision by an entity. You could just ask them to say, I'm not going to do it. That's what it says. Give up your ambitions. Ambitions, like change your heart. There's no way to monitor that. The thing is, they're also getting access to $300 billion rebuilding fund to rebuild their country.
Oh, so we are giving that now, right?
Oh, yeah.
$300 billion. Like,
rebuild fund.
and will that be properly used? As in, like, in
who knows, man? This happens everywhere. Like there's an earthquake in Venezuela. I'm sure everybody's going to pour their hearts out and give money. Where does it go? It goes to a corrupt country that takes the money and let the people suffer. It happens in Haiti. It happens in Venezuela. It happens all over the place, man. We go help. But what ends up happening is that until those countries are freed of the people that are oppressing the people over there, your help isn't helping the people. The people in Iran don't have a problem with the people in America. And the people in America should have to separate the people who live in Iran, the 90 million, versus the thousands that are running. Those people that are running the country, they're very uneducated and very selfish people. And they've become very wealthy. They've become very wealthy. If you look at the people that are running that country, how much money they have tied up in all these different international banks.
Okay.
It's very laughable to be sitting down and making deals with them. There's no making deals with them. They're thieves.